Welcome. Thanks for coming to practice with me. So just before this practice started, perhaps 15 minutes ago, got an email that several more participants wanted to be on the distribution list. So um, looks like you're not joining the live session, but I will certainly get recordings out to you. And then having known that, what I just said is probably not very useful because you're watching. All right. Astronomical phenomena coming up in just a couple days here, equinox. And so you might think, well, best way to honor equinox is to study balance. And we'll do some of that. We'll do something else as well, and that's studying imbalance, asymmetry, as a way to invite us more into the present moment. So let's get started, see how that works. Whoops. Let's get started, see how that works. Coming up onto your feet. And starting in our usual way with no particular posture, no particular intention, kind of clearing the decks. And then ever so slightly softening your knees, just unlocking them. Noticing how the weight falls in your feet. Not trying to fix that right away, just taking note of where it falls. Maybe more in one foot than the other, maybe more towards the forefoot or heel. And then employing a little bit of intention, beginning to ground, descend at the roots of your toes, starting with a little toe, roots of the toes moving towards the ground, all the way across to the root of the big toe, and pads of the toes, not really pressing down, just kind of resting down. Perhaps you've already noticed how that brings a little bit more sense of weight to the forefoot. Well, best you can, drawing that weight back towards the heel to where things feel more or less equal. Closing your eyes. Checking in with balance. Balance kind of an interesting thing. The harder you try to achieve it, the more elusive it is. Letting your eyes open, and then just letting my apologies, phone call coming in on the other phone. That sense of grounding. Beginning to work with our breathing. Breathing practice called samvrti. Samvrti is the intention of bringing more or less equal duration and volume to both exhale and inhale. Let's start with the exhale. Exhale just a little bit longer, a little bit more volume. Seeing if the inhale can be about the same. About the same duration, about the same volume. Exhale and inhale. All right. Let's add some movement to that next time. Inhale comes around, sweep on arms up. Arms sweeping up in the inhale, about the same duration of movement as there is in the breath cycle. So arms up, the same rate, same length of time inhale takes, arms down the same length of time exhale takes. Whatever that is for you. I'm moving kind of slow. Perhaps an indication that I tend to be what you call long-winded. All right, next time we sweep up, let's add the heel lift. Inhale up, heels up. Exhale down, arms down, heels down. Trying to follow that intention, the invitation to keep breath cycle even and steady, movement the same way. Noticing how much more present your mind needs to be in order to practice in this way. Next time arms are up, let's keep heels down. And on an exhale, side bending, bending to the right. Inhale back up center. Exhale left. Yeah. Easier said than done, isn't it? To let the duration of the breath cycle dictate the duration of the movement. All right, sweeping arms on down. So just by way of warming up, something, a progression I really become fond of is this, starting with right hand on your abdomen below your navel, left hand comes behind on your sacrum. And finding that sense of grounding, equilibrium in your feet, and then tipping pelvis forward and back, tipping pelvis forward and back. Best you can, foundation, feet, knees, stay pretty much steady, stable. All right. Let's find center and then bend over just a bit. Bending at your hips, coming forward a bit. Same hip tip, same movement. Inhale, tipping forward, looking up. Exhale, rounding, looking down. Hips tipping first, head moving last. So let's inhale one movement, perhaps the same duration. Exhale the other movement, perhaps the same duration. Next time you tip forward and look forward, let's come all the way up. And then exhale, bend over, come on down, under that home position, following your breathing. All right. Next time you come up, let's sweep arms up all the way up. Exhale, folding. Bit of a hip tip, same hip tip right here. Inhale, bit of a lift. Exhale, upside down. Full deep inhale right here. Exhale. Sweep it all the way up. Inhale. Yep. So kind of a preamble to sun salutations. Let's continue that. A full sun salutation this time. A little bit faster. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale. Holding. Bit of a lift. Inhale. Upside down. Exhale. Come into hands and knees. Fork in the road. Under that hip tip, Let's do that right here by way of cat pose, cow pose. How about exhale first, tipping your hips back, rounding your back, dropping your head, tipping your hips forward. Moving from the hips first if you can, but also best you can, making the duration of the movement the same as the duration of the breath cycle. All right. Come into neutral and then we'll curl our toes under, lift hips up and back, downward facing dog. Just checking in here for a moment. Seeing if both sides of the dog are more or less equal. And no need to try to fix that. Just taking note of it. Exhale, coming on down the hands and knees. Moving your knees back a bit. Oh, good. 4 or 5 inches. Bringing hips forward. Aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. Down. So I'm going to go down pretty slowly and come up pretty slowly. So it may take more than one breath cycle to get down and up. Kind of breaking the pattern just a bit here. Going down slow, smooth, steady. Doesn't mean the breath can't be smooth and steady as well. As you lower down, touch, and slowly come back up. Yeah, come with the hands and knees. So we're kind of pre-programmed, aren't we? We want to make that push up a whole lot quicker than the descent, the lowering down. Let's try one more time. See if you can make the duration of those two movements about the same. Align first, then exhale, lowering down. Same duration, inhale, coming back up. All right. And we'll stay down here on the floor. So if you need to move your iPad, laptop to have a better view, now would be the time to do it. Coming onto your back with knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Employing that hip tip one more time. On an exhale, pressing lower back into the floor. Inhale, releasing, letting it come away. Next time you tip those hips, follow that movement with your knees, bringing them in over your chest, just like that. We're going to do a few toe taps here. Same theme, best you can. On an exhale, lowering toes down, tapping and pausing for the inhale. Exhale, bringing toes back up. So it's exhale down, pause for the inhale. Exhale back up. A little different this time. We'll exhale down and inhale. See if you can make the volume of the exhale and inhale about the same. Duration of the movement about the same. Okay. Next time, knees are drawn in over your chest. Taking knees wide, bringing heels together. Same study here. Inhale, feet go up, legs go up, straighten, exhale, they come down. So we're kind of pre-programmed. As far as gravity is concerned, we go down. Temptation is to go a lot faster. one way than the other. Study a little bit different today. Next time, feet are down, bringing both feet to the floor, and closing your eyes. Letting eyes close and tipping your hips so that low back comes in contact with the floor. Best you can using abdominal muscles to keep it there. As you take the right leg up towards the ceiling, and then leg circles. That straight leg up in the air. Coming across to the opposite side first. This is your right leg. That would be counterclockwise. Beginning to notice one of the other elements of our practice today, and that would be how weight shifts in the hips, the back of your pelvis as you make this circle, going in the other direction. Eyes still closed. Not that we want to put a lid on that pelvic movement, weight shifting. Feel the weight shifting, that's exactly what it should do. All right, going to the other side. Taking the left leg up, eyes still closed. Low back imprinting as you draw those circles on the ceiling with up in the air leg. Taking note of any shift in weight in your lower back, back of the pelvis, hips. See if you can make this movement rather than from your foot, from deep in your hip socket. Perhaps it isn't as big a circle. Deep in the hip socket. How does that change perception of hips tipping? All right, bringing that foot on down, rolling to one side, coming up on hands and knees, and then just stepping forward, fold, hip tip right here, hips tipping forward, bit of a lift. Exhale, upside down, sweeping all the way up. Now, here's that same practice we do so many times, but perhaps a little bit different intention today as we take that wide stride, toes pointing more or less out, and rather than hands on hips, hands together at heart, just the fingertips together. Reason for that is so much of our brain is mapped to our hands. When hands are touching something, anything, it kind of is like background noise. Hard to perceive other things. Exhale, bending at knees, hips, and ankles. Seat comes back first. Inhale, coming back up. Yeah. So noticing internally, does one knee work a little bit more fluidly, freely than the other one? No. Not trying to fix that, just taking note of it as an invitation to be a bit more present. Next time both legs are straight, just bend one leg at a time, bending the right knee, left leg stays straight, straightening the right knee, bending the left, beginning to notice about what time weight begins to leave the straight leg. land in the bending leg? When does it return as you come up? So awareness of how weight shifts. See if you can find that dynamic moment when, there you go, weight begins to shift. Maybe it shifts immediately. Maybe it takes a little bit more movement. All right, coming on up, stepping your feet together. And we'll head for chair pose. I'm just going to turn sideways for a moment. And you might notice that I have a folding chair here. Folding chair by way of maybe assisting balance. And just so you know, reaching out for a chair, a piece of furniture, the wall, is not cheating. Because we're not necessarily looking for rock steady balance. We're here to study, balance and imbalance. All right, hit chair pose. Hands to heart, fingertips together. Hips come back. Knees bend, ankles bend. Inhale, coming up. Yeah. How does this work with our theme? Well, could work in a lot of ways. Could work with breath, volume, and duration. Inhale, exhale. Could work with duration of the movements. Next time you're in that bent position, chair position, how about left hand to right knee, right hand comes behind, rotating, turning to the right. Just a couple breaths here. A little bit harder to breathe in a twist. But is it possible to still keep that Samavrti more or less equal? Inhale, exhale. All right, coming on forward. How about inhale, reaching? Full deep inhale. Equal exhale. Inhale, coming up. Arms to the side, exhale. Going to the other side. Seat comes back. Chair pose. Right hand to left knee. Left hand comes behind. Rotating, turning to the left. Not so much time here. Just a brief study. Couple of breaths. Coming on forward. Inhale, reaching. Exhale right here. Inhale to come up. Arms to the side. Exhale. All right. Let me check my map here. Make sure we're headed in the right direction. Let's skip that sun salutation I was going to do. We'll go right to the next standing pose. So taking feet wide, right toes turn in. You know what? I'm going to do something a little different today, just by way of demonstration. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my alignment as I come into this traditional yoga pose. Left toes turn in. I'm sorry, right toes turn in, left toes turn out. So perhaps you've already noticed feet, back foot is not aligned with any dimensions of the mat. It's not square to anything. And guess what? Hips and torso are not either. Now, there's a very specific reason for that. Keeps hips in their happy zone, normal range of movement. Less chance of injury overdoing it. All right, let's exhale, bending the front knee. Inhale, straightening. Up and down just a couple times. And then noticing next time you're in the up position, both legs straight, how weight is more or less equal between the 2 feet. How far can you bend that front knee, keeping the weight more or less equal? Kind of feel when it leaves the back foot, lands in front. You start to feel that weight leaving the back feet, pausing right there. Bringing hands to heart, lifting your elbows, extending your arms, looking out, gazing out over that left hand. Yeah, pretty evident right here that my hips and my torso are not, as they used to say, in between 2 panes of glass. Very specific reason for that. Keeping hip joints happy and healthy. Let's just bring fingertips back together, pushing down to come up. And we'll go right away to the other side. So that would be left toes in, right toes out. Taking a moment to notice weight distribution in your 2 feet. And then without looking at that front leg, right leg, bending and straightening. Noticing how you can feel weight leave the back foot, left foot, land in the front foot. Bending that front knee just enough to where you can feel the weight begin to leave. There you go. Begin to leave the back foot. Hands to heart, elbows come up, arms extend, looking up. Remember how it started? Almost the first thing we did. There you are. Volume and duration of breathing. Inhale, pushing down. Come on. Stepping together. We'll head for another sequence we do often, but with a little bit different intention this time. Pouring your weight into your right foot and using your torso as a lever, counterweight to your left leg as left leg comes behind. Balance is a little shaky today. Left leg comes behind. Yeah, so using something to reach out for, not necessarily cheating. As we come to kind of shaking hands with warrior three. Torso more or less parallel to the floor, back leg same way. Just setting that back foot down, coming on. And then lifting the heel of your back foot to bend the front knee, descending the back heel to come up straight. Yeah, there's that same thing we've been studying. Weight shifting. Next time, front knee is bent, pausing there. Lifting the front of your hips up towards the ceiling, descending the back heel down. Reaching forward, full inhale. Pausing here for the exhale. Arms up, inhale. First transition is hands to heart. Next transition is just like we started here. Using your torso to lift, coming forward to lift that back leg. Shaking hands with warrior three. Until that back leg just floats up and meets the front. All right. Same thing on the other side. Little bit fast. Shifting your weight into the left leg, suspending the right leg, suspending it. Doesn't have to be all that high. Doesn't have to be complete warrior three. Just shaking hands, setting it down, coming on up. And then there's that up and down movement. beginning with the back heel lifting and then descending. Next time front knee is bent, pausing there. Lifting the front of your hips up towards the ceiling. How do you know if you've done that? Well, breastbone, chest kind of automatically lifts a bit as well. Then descending your back heel out of that lifted chest and pelvis. Inhale, arms forward. Full deep inhale. Exhale right here. Inhale up. Let's just exhale right away, hands to heart. Right away, pouring weight forward. Suspending the back foot. Before bringing it up. Okay, let's even out here with a half sun salutation, sweeping up, inhale, folding, exhale, beautiful lift, inhale, upside down, exhale, sweeping back up, inhale, arms to the side, exhale. All right, setting the chair aside just for the moment. Let's take that wide stride one more time. Turning right toes in and left toes out. Taking note of weight distribution, front foot, back foot. Then bending that front knee, left knee, just to the place where weight begins to leave the back foot. Sometimes you got to go forward and back a few times to find that place. So maybe knee lands over the arch of the foot. Maybe it doesn't go quite that far. Wherever it is for you. Be right about there. And then noticing right here, weight still more or less equal. Noticing how weight shifts in the feet as you tip your hips, hips tipping. Today, just bringing hand to knee. Not a big tip, little bit less tip. And then free arm, right arm up towards the ceiling. Reaching up, extending up, and turning your gaze to look at the floor. Enjoying any sense of steadiness, stableness. Don't know if that's a real word. Balance, perhaps, better word. That may experience right here. Let's bring that upper arm down, pushing down to come up, going to the other side. So a little less talking from me, a little bit more sense of balance, imbalance, weight shifting, equalizing from you. There you go. Yeah, and we'll meet right here. And then gaze at the floor. Just take a note. Balance, imbalance as an invitation to be a bit more present. Upper arm, left arm comes down, pushing down to come up, stepping your feet together. All right, one more standing pose, one more side angle, different variation of side angle this time. You can start with that arm swing. So right arm swinging forward and up, swinging back behind you. And as arm comes forward, palm turns up towards the ceiling. As arm comes down, palm turns down towards the floor. Yeah. Next time arm is up in the air, keeping it up there, reaching up. And then taking that arm out to the side, about 30 degrees, rotating your whole arm so that thumb points towards the floor, and then sweeping that arm behind you. Let's do that again a little bit faster. And so faster movement could mean a little bit quicker breathing. Yeah, isn't it interesting? All those things kind of coincide right now. Arm up in the air, reaching up, arm to the side, thumb to the floor. Coming on back behind. All right. Taking a wide stride. Right toes turn, left toes turn out. Finding that dynamic balance. Weight in the front foot, back foot. As the knee bends. Tipping at your hips, hips tipping. Bring in, this time, forearm to thigh. That same arm we just swung standing up, same swing right here. Reach and reach and reach and reach. Mm-hmm. And rather than this time looking at the floor, turning your gaze just a peek towards the ceiling. Perhaps a bit of challenge for your balance. But we're not looking for rock steady. Judging balance, observing balance as a way to be a bit more present. Arm swings down, pushing down to come up, stepping your feet together, and checking in left side, right side. Yeah. Another moment of study. One side feel a little bit lighter, livelier. One side a bit more grounded. It wouldn't be surprising. Let's do the other side. Left arm swing, arm up, palm turns up, arm down, palm turns down. And then keeping that reach, reaching up towards the ceiling, out to the side, thumb to the floor, sweeping behind. One more time, a few swings, and then a reach, and then arm out, thumb to the floor, sweeping behind you, reaching as if you were reaching in the back seat of your car to find something. Oh, there it is. Taking a wide stride. Left toes turning, right toes turning. Dynamic balance begins to shift. Weight shifts a bit. Just observing that. Tipping at your hips, forearm to thigh. Upper arm, left arm. In that same swing. Beginning to rotate if you can, your gaze to look towards the ceiling. Perhaps balance on this side is a little bit different than it was on the other side. Perhaps breathing has become a little bit unsteady, a little bit unequal. Not that we have to make everything equal. Just observing and then bringing that arm down, pushing down to come up, stepping your feet together. I think we better head for the floor. So heading for the floor to finish up, and we'll be down there for the rest of the practice. So inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding. Just kind of letting that awareness take a back seat for now. Bit of a lift, inhale, upside down. Exhale, coming to hands and knees. Oh, let's see. Let's stay right here in kind of a kneeling mountain pose with shins moving down towards the floor, tops of the feet pushing into the floor. And then for, camel pose. Fists in your back. So now rather than taking hips forward, how about taking breastbone, sternum up towards the ceiling, gaze up towards the ceiling. Gazing up as Top of the feet are pushing down. And now let's sweep arms up. Arms sweeping up. Maybe touching fingertips together. So fingertips come together, both arms. Gosh, you're pretty much equal. Well, maybe you've got an injury. Injury arm is a little bit longer or shorter, but nah, more or less. Coming on down. All right. Coming to hands and knees. Let's step forward with your right foot coming up between your hands. We're going to do some kneeling lunges. So on an exhale, coming forward, inhale, coming back up. Yeah. Yeah. Perhaps duration of movement going forward and back can be about the same. Oh, not so hard to do right here. Next time you're in that bit forward position, pause there, and then taking left hand to right knee, right hand comes behind, rotating to the right. Just a couple breaths here. Just enough time. Practice that Samavrti briefly. Coming on forward, coming back to hands and knees, coming back to standing on your knees. Yeah, going to revisit camel pose. Tops of the feet pushing down as breastbone lifts up, arms sweep up, bringing hands together. Yeah. So see what's true in your body. One hand may be able to reach up a little bit higher than the other. Just taking note of any difference that may have occurred due to that kneeling lunge or twist. Exhale, coming on down. Let's go to the other side. Hands and knees. Other foot comes forward. This time would be the left foot. If the right foot came forward last time, but whatever it is for you, perhaps you got mixed up. It's the other leg. It's the other foot forward. A few times up and down. Back foot, top of the foot pushing down. As you move forward and back. Not the deepest lunge ever, kind of a mild lunge, just hoping to free up the body a bit lunge. Staying forward. Right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind. Opening, twisting. Now, if you'd like a little bit more sensation, that might be that back hand coming up behind the back of your head. Elbow reaching out. All right. Let's not overdo it. Coming on forward, coming back. Let's check in those arm lengths again by way of camel pose. Yeah. Tops of the feet move down as breastbone moves up. So it's not hips coming forward. It's breastbone, chest, and gaze coming up. Then sweeping arms up, bringing fingertips together. Holy cats. Don't know about you, but things kind of evened out a bit. Isn't that interesting? Arms sweeping on down. All right. Checking the time here. Don't want to run you out of time. Well, we've already had a bit of a back bend there. So maybe we'll go right to coming onto your back. With knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. And then bringing knees in towards your chest and taking them wide so that soles of the feet come together. Pads of the toes perhaps come together. And then rather than using arms as a lever to push things, just taking your hands up to meet your shins or your ankles, letting knees move away from each other. Knees moving away from each other. Pads of the toes pressing towards each other. Couple breaths here. Breath steady and even, just the way we started. All right. Coming on down, rolling to one side. Coming seated. Coming seated with feet together, hands on the outsides of your knees. And then moving knees away from each other, but hands are going to resist, try to hold them back. So knees moving out, hands resisting. So there's quite a bit of effort here, knees trying to move away from each other, and then just bringing them back in. So it's knees moving out to the side, and for the time being, just unhooking movement and breath. Breath do whatever it does. Just getting this sense that deep hip muscles, hip rotator muscles, getting a bit of a workout by knees moving away, hands holding them back. All right, next time hands are together, let's do that with just one side. How about the right knee? Left knee stays where it is, right knee moves out to the side. Hand resists. One more time. Right knee moving out to the side all by itself. Resisting. Okay. Now the left leg is straight. The right leg comes over. And we just still got that right hand there. Let's just move that right knee into the right hand. Yeah. Reactivating that deep hip muscle momentarily. And then we'll switch hands. Left hand grabs the right knee. Right hand comes behind. Yep, you got it. Knee moves away into the hand, rotating into that upper bent leg. Breath steady. Okay, coming back on forward. Let's find this feet together, hands on the knees. We're going to take the knees away from each other, see which leg feels a little bit more free to move a little bit stronger. One leg moving a little, there you go. Isn't that interesting? Better do the other side. So we're going to do just the left leg now, just the left knee, moving away, hand resisting a couple of times. Pretty good effort to get that knee moving away, get those deep hip muscles working, 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 working. All right. Right leg straight, left leg over. Changing hands. Left hand comes behind. So same thing. We want that deep hip muscle to work. Knee rotating out to the side, hand holding it back, and then turning, twisting into that upright knee. Couple breaths here. Exhale, coming on forward. Yeah, let's revisit our test. Feet together, hands on either side of the knee. Knees moving away from each other into the resisting hands. Things a little bit different this time. Yeah, if both legs feel about equally strong, you've already come that far in cultivating strength over range of motion. Okay. Just checking my notes here. We started with a pranayama breathing practice. We're going to introduce another one right here. Very traditional. And if you're a student of yoga history, perhaps you already know this particular one, very ancient. So that's going to be alternate nostril breathing. I like to take my index finger and middle finger, put them on my forehead between my eyebrows, and then I use this little finger fourth finger to open and close my nostril on that side, and I use the thumb to open and close on that side. So whatever hand you're using, you want to close the right nostril first. Inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale through the right. Inhale, right. Close right, exhale left. Let's exhale, inhale on the same side. You might have already guessed. Is it possible to keep volume and duration of this breathing about the same? Can be challenging. You not only got to switch nostrils, you got to pay attention to duration and volume of breathing. Let's come together with a closing of the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Close the left, exhale through the right. Ending there. Sitting for just a few breaths. Letting breathing normalize. No special practice. And then coming onto your back. Knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Drawing those knees in over your chest. Hands on your knees. And then we'll explore best you can one of those studies we've been using all morning here. It's either more or less equal exhale, inhale, as knees draw in on the exhale. More or less equal duration of movement. Or it could be simply weight shifting lower back, back of the pelvis. Exhale as knees draw in. Inhale as they go up. A couple different ways to study this particular movement. Just noting how much more present your mind needs to be when you make that inquiry. All right. Next time knees are drawn in, crossing your ankles. And for some folks, they can reach all the way up and grab their toes, but it's not all that accessible for everybody. Let's be honest. For some folks, grabbing the shins just above the knees is about where you're going to land. If possible, reaching up to grab ankles or toes. Letting all of that study, that intention kind of fade away, settle into the back seat. Just moving, rocking back and forth on your lower back. Enjoying a bit of release in the lower back. And then crossing your ankles the other way, a few times on this side. Yeah, if possible, grabbing toes, but not absolutely necessary. Just going for a little bit of release, a little bit of slowing down here, rocking back and forth. And then bringing knee, hands, feet down. Yeah, hands come down too. You can either keep knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, or you could have legs straight out, whichever is more comfortable for you this morning. Like we did earlier. No special intention right here. Kind of letting things equalize on their own, normalize on their own. Body returning to perhaps what it was before we practiced, or perhaps something a little bit different. Couple more breaths here. And then eyes are closed. Slowly, gradually opening your eyes. And even that's easier said than done, isn't it? Opening the eyes slowly. Well, who does that? Maybe we should, as our last practice, experiment with that. Eyes closed. Bit of an inquiry. Can you actually slowly, gradually open your eyelids? All right. Drawing these in towards your chest and rolling to one side. Coming seated. Yeah. So I don't know about you. That went kind of fast for me. Let's wait for everyone to come seated and then take a collective inhale, arms sweeping up. Exhale, hands to heart. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me and happy equinox coming up in just a couple days.